It is absolutely criminal how underutilized Green Arrow has been when it comes to a plethora of DC media. Not to say the character has been neglected entirely in comparison to characters like Kyle Rayner or The Question, for example, but I feel like he's one of the more popular, underrated characters from the DC Comics catalog. Sure, people are familiar with him due to the popularity of the Arrowverse. I mean, the name of the universe literally stems from the show as it kickstarted that era of DC CW TV shows. With that said, the show does face some problems when adapting the character's mythos, as well as not a lot of DC projects giving proper due to Oliver Queen since the airing of Justice League Unlimited. Bro's essentially non-existent in the DCEU, he has a very minimal role in the Tomorrowverse animated films. There's a lot of rich lore and side characters relating to Green Arrow that are absent entirely in many adaptations, and even if Green Arrow himself has made appearances in more recent shows or films, his role is very limited and not a lot of emphasis is put on his impact and significance to the wider DC universe. I like to think of it as the problem relating to the little emphasis given to the wider Bat family outside comics, only much worse. While I don't dislike Arrow as a show, it would be an understatement to say how much of an inaccurate portrayal of Oliver Queen is conveyed throughout the entire series. You got an entire generation of folk out here thinking he's just another Batman brooding-esque vigilante with a large supporting cast of heroes and even villains from the Batman mythos. The Batman parallels are just insane. Broly thinks he's him.
I told John to trust you, to give you another chance, but I was wrong. Now you tell me, what does Dark have planned?
Kiss me through the phone.
He copied my whole fucking flow.
Oh,
word for word,
shit.
bar for bar.
Oh,
Don't act like I didn't.
Out of all the Green Arrow villains from the comics to pick and choose from to be season antagonists, y'all decided to have freaking Ra's al Ghul in the League of Assassins be the primary antagonist for season 3. Why? They even implemented the whole notion of Ra's wanting Oliver to take his place as leader of the League of Assassins. Now sure, Green Arrow and Batman have shared a lot of similarities throughout the years, both billionaires, vigilantes, secret hideouts, sidekicks, but I feel as if the differences between the two are more prominent to where it allows Oliver to stand out on his own, especially when it comes to his more lighthearted demeanor. He's also more the type of hero to put emphasis on standing out for the little guy and is very unapologetic about his political views dating back all the way to the 1970s.
Look, I'm an old lefty. The government must do for people what people can't do for themselves. Come on, I don't belong up here. I just helped the little guy. And a big club like this, you tend to forget all about him.
Now, I'm not saying Oliver should have been cracking one-liners like he's an MCU character, but it's just weird with the direction they went with his personality. Throughout the course of the show, he faced or encountered characters like Talia al Ghul, Firefly, Deadshot, Anarchy.
Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture.
Prometheus, who in this version is more of a Green Arrow copycat instead of Batman, although I will say Prometheus was definitely one of the better villains in the series. He really was that guy. I'll let them slide with using Deathstroke because there's this wide misconception that Slade Wilson is a Batman villain when he really isn't. If anything, he's more of a Nightwing and Teen Titans villain, but he low-key got beef with practically every straight level hero in the DC universe, and he and Green Arrow have had some interactions in the comics. Where are villains like Onomatopoeia or Count Vertigo? I never really was a fan of what they did with the Black Canary character. There were like 3 different women to take up that mantle. Not to mention Laurel as Black Canary was
a 2-pack of ass. The fuck are you talking about? That shit stinks.
Imagine taking one of the most effective and well-developed relationships in comics just to do nothing significant with said pairing across 8 different seasons. This show doesn't just butcher Green Arrow related characters. They incorporated Mr. Terrific into the mix as a supporting character, and this version was hot buns. Mr. Terrific is honestly one of the most underrated Justice League members on top of being one of the smartest minds in the DC universe. Here, he's just over the top and weird with his comedic timing being all over the place. He's not a competent fighter. He's a bit of a wimp. Not to mention this isn't even Michael Holt as Mr. Terrific, he's just some random dude named Curtis. James Gunn, please do my boy right. To literally nobody's surprise, Justice League Unlimited has the best portrayal of Green Arrow put to screen and properly demonstrates his dynamic with the rest of the Justice League. This show honestly paints a clear picture on Green Arrow's purpose as a Justice League member, as he brings a more grounded perspective with the team's approach in crime fighting.
Still don't think I belong up here.
That's the point. Someone like you will keep us honest.
Gee, Bats, I don't know.
So, see you soon.
You just might. Batman said I was supposed to keep you guys honest.
Do I look like Batman to you?
Actually, you kinda do. We're guilty of the sin of hubris. As of right now, we're disbanding the Justice League. This is the end.
Says who? We saved the world, again. You don't think that has any value? Well, think again, pal. If you're quitting because you think you've already done your fair share, fine. The world needs the Justice League, and the Justice League needs you, Superman.
Bro's speech was so immaculate it made Batman crack a little smile. And with this being the best portrayal of Green Arrow, this is also the best interpretation of the Black Canary and Green Arrow relationship, while also giving light to how Canary is one of the best hand-to-hand combatants in the DC universe.
You happy punching the bag, or you want to go a few rounds with me? I am talking about sparring. How about a wager? If I can get out of this hold, you help me.
Deal.
I'm here on league business, Canary.
That's not what Jean said. We just called him.
And here I heard you were some kind of brilliant fighter.
You heard right.
Young Justice had a pretty decent depiction of Green Arrow, but he's not in it a whole lot since the show primarily focuses on the young roster of heroes. However, there's a good emphasis on the importance of Black Canary, with her serving as a mentor figure to the Young Justice team, helping them master their combat skills and even serving the role as their therapist.
Red Tornado volunteered to live here and be your supervisor. Black Canary's in charge of training. I will deploy you on missions.
I consider it an honor to be your teacher. I'll throw a lot at you. Now, combat is about controlling conflict, putting the battle on your terms. But did anyone see what he did wrong?
Ooh, he hit on teacher and got served? You can't tell Batman.
Nothing leaves this room.
I always expected to grow up and become him. The thing that drives him to sacrifice everything for the sake of his mission. That's not me. I don't want to be the Batman anymore.
Injustice did do Green Arrow and Black Canary a little dirty, with Superman killing Green Arrow in the Fortress of Solitude, where he shoots an arrow at Superman but it bounced off and ended up hitting Jonathan Kent. Once Superman saw that, it was wraps for bro. Oliver was about to see the pearly gates after that.
Herc! Dad!
And Black Canary was also nearly killed by Superman when she took one of those super pills to fight him, but was hit by his heat vision. Luckily for her, Dr. Fate found her and decided to revive her and take her to an alternate Earth, and decided to let her live with Green Arrow from that alternate universe and live a happy life. You see this Black Canary and alternate Green Arrow in Injustice 2, where they initially help Batman during the events of the game's narrative, as well as having some cool banter with one another and with other characters.
Guess I better call the sitter. Mommy and Daddy are coming home late.
If this is more than you and Ollie are comfortable with, Dinah, I'll have Blue Beetle and Firestorm take over.
No, we can do this.
You've been out of the fight a long time. You have a family.
Your family too, Bruce. I couldn't be there to finish the fight against Superman. I'm damn sure finishing this one.
In terms of other animated projects, he made slight appearances in the Batman cartoon from the early 2000s, where he was a part of the newly formed Justice League roster in the show's final season. The DCAMU does not feature Green Arrow in any way, shape, or form, which is indicative of that universe's overall problem of not giving enough screen time to characters who aren't Batman. Few appearances in the Tomorrowverse had marked the first time he had some significant screen time in an animated movie in like over a decade, I think, not including those Batman Unlimited films, because I don't think anyone has watched those. The only movie in the Tomorrowverse where he has a big role in is Green Lantern Beware My Power, but that universe is ending with Christ on Infinite Earth, so it really doesn't even matter anyway. Green Arrow is honestly one of the most slept on characters in DC's vast catalog of heroes. He's been an important leaguer in events like Dark Crisis and has had a sort of resurgence with Joshua Williamson's most recent run in Dawn of DC. Oliver Queen's relationships with his rivals and allies often bring out different aspects of his character, from his romantic and playful nature to his sometimes self-righteous and outgoing persona. These relationships also allow for deep storylines and character development that could be explored more in various media. But sadly, my boy Oliver gets the short end of the stick. The character of Green Arrow presents the opportunity for writers to delve into a variety of themes, from corporate corruption to urban crime. To me, he's kind of like the underdog of the Justice League, with Justice League Unlimited showcasing the vast gap in power in comparison to the rest of the League, yet he's able to stand alongside them with the ability to keep them in check and call the League out on their BS. I feel like for whenever the next live-action depiction of Green Arrow would be, assuming it would be in James Gunn's DCU, they would kind of have to go for more of a comic book route route that's accurate to the character in order to stand out and differentiate from the CW version. Nobody wants to see another Batman wannabe, okay? That's boring. One can only hope in the coming years the people behind DC adaptations can recognize the value of Oliver Queen in any interpretation of the wider DC universe and give him the proper respect he deserves.